In the moments when you're really in pain and you're really suffering, the reason that you started this, the why, needs to be so much stronger than the internal conversation that you're having with yourself of, why don't I just stop? What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Choi show. I am coming back. Literally, last night I got back from helping my friend Paul Johnson run across America. He is on quite the journey right now. Literally, he started in LA and then he's making his way to New York City. He was attempting a world record time, 40 days, 3,000 miles. This is roughly 75 miles per day. Let that sink in really quick. Most people, there's 1% of the world, 1% that ever runs a marathon. Then there's a much smaller percentage of people that run more than a marathon. He is doing what less than 1% of the world ever does, 40 days in a row, by running an ultra marathon every single day for 40 days to make his way all the way to Times Square, New York City. It was really an honor for me to get to join him and his team. And it was really fun because I had known Paul. My knee just popped. I had known Paul a lot through social media, and we had a better chance to get connected through a mutual friend of ours, Tyler Schwartz, and he ended up coming down to Austin for the Austin Marathon weekend, and he crashed in my place. We connected a lot through sauna plunging and running and talking about his journey and his trip and all the things, and obviously he had saw me do the run in Korea. I say all this to say, it was really enjoyable for me to go experience it with him, to go see what it's like with his crew, with his operation, to see him kind of struggle, and obviously to see just like where his mindset is at, where his body's at. And a lot of what I want to talk about today is the run across America. And I think even though I was only with him for about 48 hours, it was still once in a lifetime experience. And obviously for me, it's something that I want to do in the future, but I want to make sure that I do it in a time that's right. And it's for a certain cause that makes sense for me. And obviously, you know, the first takeaway I had was, why? Why would someone want to do this? Why does someone want to put themselves through suffering, knowing that they're going to be enduring pain? They're going to be enduring fatigue. They're going to be enduring lack of sleep and sacrifice for not only themselves, but everyone that's involved. Like, for example, Paul has his mother involved, part of the crew. He has a crew chief, Rob. He has another crew member, Mike. And he has a videographer, my buddy Brady. And all these people are sacrificing. Like, they're operating on the same schedule. They're all waking up at 2 a.m. so they can start running at 3 a.m. And you start to realize that, like, it's so much bigger than just the runner. And I think a lot of people, like, especially if you are running or if you've gotten into it, like, you understand that, like, running is so much bigger than just the person running it. It's everyone that's supporting you morally. Everyone's supporting you from your inner circle, from your out of your circle. Like, people that are just cheering you on and wanting to see you do well. It was really cool to get to witness it in person. And I think for Paul, like, he's running for a great foundation, coming back to the why. And he's running because he's a naval officer, and so he's running for Team Red, White, and Blue, which is for veterans, helping them raise awareness around mental health, around building community, around improving wellness. And his goal is to raise $1 million. And he's right now at roughly maybe 20% there. He's at 170,000 maybe by the time this recording's out. And I think about those moments where you're in pain and you're suffering and you're asking yourself, why am I here? Like, why am I doing this? And it needs to be so much bigger than just like, oh, I want to just do it just because I said I can, or I want to do it just because I said I was going to, or I want to do this for social, or I want to do this for whatever. And in the moments when you're really in pain and you're really suffering, like, the reason that you started this, the why, needs to be so much stronger than the internal conversation that you're having with yourself of, why don't I just stop? Like, why don't I quit? Like, I might be dealing with an injury. I might be having a stress fracture. I might, whatever, fill in the blank. When you're doing this type of endurance feats, things that are outside of your control can happen. Your body can respond in a way that you don't expect it to. And I think there's something to be said around making sure that you have a powerful reason as to why you're wanting to do this. And something me and Paul got to talk about even yesterday, because, you know, I've been there before when I ran across Korea. Like, you know, sometimes you don't want to talk. Like, sometimes you're just in your own thoughts, and like, you know, you're running with people, but it's at times where you just want to be in solitude. Like, yes, it's nice to have someone running with you, but equally it's also nice to just like have company without having to talk to them. So even for me, like understanding that, I was just treading lightly and making sure that, you know, I was there in support and in spirit for Paul, keeping it lighthearted and like, you know, joking around and making him smile and just like laugh, and also at times just say nothing and just let him endure this pain, let him endure the suffering that he's going through. And you know, something he asked me, he's like, so when are you going to run transcon? And I go, I don't know. I was like, I will in the future, 100%. I think it's something that's just on my bucket list. I think I want to test myself and see if I can do it. But I told him, I said, Paul, I want to make sure that the reason I do this is significant. It's much bigger than me. I want this to be a lasting thing. I want to raise awareness and money around something so powerful that I can't even envision right now. Like, I don't know what that thing is yet. And he said, that's a great response, because at the end of the day, to do this, it requires a lot of grit. It requires a lot of patience and discipline. And, you know, you have to be able to stay so present in the moment while also understanding that there's a big picture for this and something that's bigger than just one individual. And that was one of my biggest takeaways leaving from the transcon and having to share this opportunity with Paul, was like, you know, not to force it, not to rush it. I think nowadays, like, a lot of people do stuff for clout on Instagram or clout for social media, so that they could say that they've done the thing. And I don't know. I just want to live life intentionally. I want to do things that are challenging, but do it in a way that is bigger than just me. And that was one of my biggest takeaways leaving from New Mexico. I've never been to New Mexico, Albuquerque. And yeah, I think it was just on my heart of, what does that actually look like for me? And I think I don't need to know the answer right now, but I think it's just reflecting on that and understanding that, you know, we've been gifted, and I've been gifted a body and a mind and a spirit that's willing to endure challenges and pain and suffering, and by no one's request. Like, no one asked me to do those things, right? And I think I'd be selling myself short if I just do it just so I can gain clout. And I think for a lot of people, it's like something to internally ask yourself. It's like, why are you doing the things you do? And I think that was something that I was just reflecting on. But yeah, it was really inspiring. I say all that to say, it was really inspiring to see Paul overcome adversity, overcome the pain in the short term that he was feeling, and just like the internal conversation he was having with himself. And I think that's something that can be a takeaway for a lot of people. Like, in the moments that you're down and out, in the moments that you're not doing well, whether it's in your job or whether it's in your fitness, whether it's in your relationships or your career, like whatever it is, like, understand that it's not a forever thing. Like, that discomfort is temporary. The pain that you're feeling is temporary. Like, this is just in the moment. And at times we need to understand what that feels like as humans so that we can overcome it. And I think Paul was doing a great job of that, of just like being positive internally, and his team and the people that are around him are all very positive and uplifting him. And I think that's a really, really critical thing when you're doing this. And it goes right into the second thing of the operations and the teamwork. And it was very interesting because everyone's strategy is different when they do the transcon. And to give you context, if you don't know what the transcontinental run is, it's basically running across America. If you ever saw the movie Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks played that character, and they run across America. And up until here, 2024 of March 15th, which is of the recording, there's less than 400 people that have ever finished this. And that puts you in a very small fraternity. Now, there's people that do it with a lot of support, an RV, sprinter vans, multiple people, helping on the crew. Other people do it unsupported, where they go with maybe just a friend or a significant other, and they just do it grassroots, very low budget, just not a lot of operationals, not a lot of people, and they get it done as well. There's people in between that maybe, get a 3-person team, a 2-person team, a 5-person team, whatever. So there's so many ways to do it. It's like skinning a cat, right? It's like that old saying of there's multiple ways to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to win a Super Bowl. Like, it doesn't have to be the same cookie cutter way that everyone else did it before. Depending on what your goal is and what you're trying to do, I think it just changes the trajectory, and it changes the teamwork, the dynamic of what that looks like. And if you're trying to set a world record and you're trying to optimize for time and efficiency, then having people on your team, having a crew is critical. It helps alleviate some time and it helps the runner just focus on running. And there's something to be said about that because there's so many things going on over the course of 24 hours where, you're having to cover X amount of distance. Then you have to eat and make sure you're feeling yourself. Then you need to make sure you're sleeping enough and then prepping for the next day. And then, if you're building a social awareness because you want to raise money, like you need to manage media and marketing and all the things. And, this is like a 6-person job, 5-person job, 3-person job. To do it all on your own is a beast. It's not that it's impossible. It's just that it's hard. And seeing how his team operated based on the goal that Paul was shooting for, which was a world record, 40 days, 3,000 miles, averaging 75 miles per day of running. Let me say that one more time. 75 miles of running. Do you know how ludicrous that sounds? Very few people in their life have done that one time, let alone 40 times in a row. So it was really cool to see how they were operating. I mean, pretty much Paul was maximizing for night running and didn't want to really spend too much time during the day because it's much hotter, it's much warmer. The UVs are stronger, so it makes our bodies obviously work more. We're sweating more. We get fatigued easier. So they were running starting at 3:00 in the morning, which means that they're waking up at around 2:15, 2:00 to get prepped for it, right? Having food ready, having fueling and nutrition and hydration all ready for the beginning start time at 3:00. So all that stuff, we got the behind the scenes look at it. And to do that every day, I'm not gonna lie, like we were there for 2 days, and 2 days in a row, I had to wake up at 2:00, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like my circadian clock is all jacked up. And personally, I'm someone that sleeps 7 to 8 hours a day. So to go then and sleep, like having to sleep at like 8:00, 9:00, and wake up at 2 is ludicrous. Like even if one day we went to sleep at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, at the most you're getting 5 hours. That's if you're falling asleep as soon as you put your head on the pillow. So most nights it was like 4 hours, 4.5 hours for us. For them, it's about the same. Like they were sleeping maybe 4 hours a day. But to do that for 40 days is like, look at my face. It's ludicrous. I mean, it's like, it's a beast. So to see that, obviously that was their strategy to maximize for night running. 3:00 all the way until, 7:30 is when the sun comes up. 3.5 hours, you can get close to 20 miles or so before the sun even comes up. And then you're like already a third of your way there. And then you're obviously continuing to run throughout the day. And it was really, really inspiring. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing. Their operation, though, is really on point. I mean, they're getting him food every 10 minutes. He's running for 10 minutes, and then he walks for about a minute. He's eating, he's hydrating, he's fueling, probably getting about 100 calories every 10 minutes. Maybe that's a little bit high. 50 to 100 calories every like 10 minutes or so. He's eating all day, like literally all throughout the day he's eating. And I'm sure it probably makes it hard for him to eat a big meal at night, because I saw him trying to eat a big meal at night, and it's just like he wasn't really that hungry because he's been eating all day. But when you're running this much, you're burning 6,000, 7,000, sometimes 8,000 calories, depending on how far you're going. And you need to fuel yourself because the body is going to be in a deficit. And if it is, then, it starts to lead to potential injuries because your body doesn't have enough fuel to use to repair itself. It could lead to rhabdo. It could lead to so many things that are outside of our control as humans. And obviously, as they're 13 days in, they're 2 weeks into this journey. It's still pretty early. They're trying to find out what that system looks like. But from what I got to see, it looks like they have a good operation going so far, and everyone understands their role. And I think that's really important in terms of team building. And I think if you think about business, if you think about your own household, if you think about anything like a sport, teamwork and camaraderie is a critical component. Everyone understanding like what they're here for, what their role is. And then if you can go a little bit above and beyond your role, that's even greater. And that's when you have A+ players, A+ team members. And I think that's what all of us are looking for if you're building an organization, if you're managing people, if you're managing a team, you want A+ players. You want people that are going to do their job at a high level and then go above and beyond. To expect everyone to be like that is probably ludicrous, but you could still expect people to at least execute their job. And that was really cool to see as well. Like, they had, Mike, who was basically part of the crew, but also a sports massager. He was a PT, doesn't qualify for a PT, but he's willing to go above and beyond. He's like, reconning on YouTube on certain injuries, on how to like deal with stuff, how to, work on some myofascial release. It was just very interesting. And then they have, Brady, who's the videographer, and he's also creating short form content, long form content, managing Paul's Instagram. You had Rob, who was the crew chief, who was driving, who was managing all the operations, managing food, cooking, cleaning, like all these things, guys. It was really impressive to see them work. And the flow of that, something that I realized was, you need people that are going to stay positive in negative situations. You need people that are going to look at the bright side, look at the glass half full, not half empty, in those moments where someone is struggling, where you get stuck with the RV in dirt, where you're out of water, where you're out of fuel. Like, you need people that are going to be positive, but also problem solvers. Like, that's what you're looking for when you're thinking about transcon, when you're thinking about an ultra. And not everyone has that, quite frankly. And some people just don't have the time. Like, some people just don't have 40 days to give up. Let's just be honest. Like, most of us don't, myself included. Like it would be very difficult for me to just drop everything I'm doing and say, for 40 days, I'm going to go help Paul Johnson run across America. I have some flexibility to do it, but like, there's a lot of things internally in my business that would then falter if I did that, right? So to find other people that are willing to do that, it's a challenge. But yeah, teamwork, camaraderie, operations. Really, really cool to get an inside scoop on that. I don't think a lot of people understand that. And when I first got to see, one of the first times I really saw this was when I first got into the ultra marathon space. And I ran the 50-mile Antelope Island Buffalo Run in Utah, Salt Lake City. And I kind of went there with not many people, like not with a major crew. Like, I had a couple friends that were running, so we had mutual friends that were also crewing and kind of helping at aid stations. But the good thing with this one was that it was a 50 miles out and back, but there was moments where you were able to get back to your car to get fueling, and there's a bunch of aid stations along the way. I didn't need as many people to be like physically part of the team. But when I did when I did Grindstone 100, my first 100-mile ultramarathon, that's when I had an actual team. Like, I had 2 videographers, I had someone as a crew chief, and then a pacers, right? And it's important to have that because, when you get to an aid station, you get to see your people. It gives you an uplifting spirit of like, damn, like, I'm not here on my own, Even though some of these races you could do alone, but it's nicer to have people to do it with you. And when I did that first 100, like, it was nice having 2 different pacers. It was nice having people to help change out my socks or shoes or shirt or refill the water. Like, it's the little things that help you over time in the long endurance run. And fast forward to last year when I did Leadville 100, I did it with my friend Nate Boyer, who ended up running under sub 25 hours. Mitch Royer was our head crew chief, and then me and Corey were kind of supporting. I was there mostly to run, but the first 62 miles, it was just us supporting Nate. And my buddy Mitch, who was the chief of that, the head crew, he got this book called Pacing and Crewing Leadville. And one of the first things when it talked about building your team, it was like chapter 2, it talked about don't bring people on your crew that are going to question why someone's running an ultramarathon. Don't bring someone on your crew that hasn't endured at least a marathon to understand what they're about to get themselves into and what the people that they're supporting are getting themselves into. Because the last thing you want to do is have people that are in your corner saying like, why are you doing this? Why are you running? Why are you doing 100 miles? Like, that's not the type of people that you want supporting you in those moments where you're questioning why you're doing this. You want people that are going to uplift you, that are going to bring you into a higher level, that are going to give you a good energy of like, yo, you got this. Take a rest, get some food, drink some water, get some electrolytes, and like take as much time as you need and continue moving forward. Like, there's something about having that positive peer group. And at times, these aren't the people closest to you. Sometimes it's people that have done the thing before. They've done an ultra, they've ran before, they've crewed before, and they understand what it's like to be sleep deprived. They understand what it's like to be out in the woods all day in the cold. They understand what it's like to not be the most nourished with food because you're kind of operating on snacks and gels and supplements. And that's a critical component. And I think as you're building out any team, you want to make sure that you have people that are positive, that are uplifting, that can see the world, see the glass half full, not half empty. And for Paul, it's pretty cool. I think he's got that right now. And they're lean, they're mean, and they're an operating machine right now. And I'm really pumped to see him continue this journey. Paul, you're going to see this maybe later on. Maybe you don't want to see this, but I'm wishing nothing but the best of luck, man. It was an honor to come share some miles with you, and hopefully I get to come join you sometime again soon, maybe in Oklahoma, or depending on your next journey. Obviously, I'm getting ready and prepping for the Speed Project, which is 2 weeks away, which is the LA run to Las Vegas. But if you guys want to support Paul, even if it's just through socials, right? Go check him out on Paul Johnson on Instagram, and you can see all the updates, what he's up to. I'm gonna give him a quick plug here for his foundation, Team Red, White, and Blue, for all the veterans out there in the world, helping them with mental health, building community, and improving wellness. If you guys want to donate any money from there, check out pauljohnson.run. Also, it's a link right on his Instagram bio. And yeah, I mean, if you guys can, right, whether it's $1, $2, $5, like skip out on your morning coffee today and donate that $4 to $5 to that foundation. All the small donations may come a long way. And even if you aren't capable or able to donate, supporting it can look so many ways, right? It could be liking a post, it could be commenting, it could be engaging, it could be sharing it with others. And there's so many ways to support people through social. And I the donation is obviously a great thing. He has an actual goal, but if you don't, and you don't feel enticed to for whatever reason, just support by liking a video, support by liking a picture, commenting, good job, or an emoji or whatever. Like, there's so many things we can do as humans to support each other. And I think it's important to do that, especially for these types of things where people are, really, taking it above and beyond and trying to do something spectacular. So that's the plug. Check it out. Let's talk about Speed Project really quick. And, honestly, a lot of the run that we just did was a lot of good prep for Speed Project. It wasn't as fast as I would be running for the Speed Project, but, the first day I got 25 miles in with Paul. And then yesterday, I think I got around 8 miles. And it was really good because it's the start and stop, right? The Speed Project is a 300-mile relay race. Oh, my knee is popping. 300 miles, 6-person team. And you split up the distance with the whole team. So our strategy going into it is that everyone's going to run 4 miles increments for the first 24 hours. So let's just say we had 6 people here. I would run first. I'm going to run 4 miles. Then I'm going to tag the next person. They're going to run 4 miles. And down the line, right? So for 6 people, we'll get through 24 miles. I'm doing the math right? 6, 12, 18, 24. Yes. 24 miles within the first set. And then you just keep repeating this. And we're going to be doing this for about 24 hours straight. Then we can switch up the strategy and maybe do some shorter increments, maybe some longer increments, depending on how people are feeling. A lot of what we did with Paul, because we had me, my friend Carrie Clark, and then my buddy Tyler Schwartz, like we split the rotations up. So, we would do like 3, 3, 1. And Carrie would run 3, I would run 3, Tyler would run 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1. So it was really a good preparation for me to get my body, my mind ready to start and stop. Go run, get back in the vehicle, rest, recover, fuel, eat nutrition, hydrate, and then go out and do it again. And the ability to start and stop like that is important because, it's like running a marathon is just 26 miles straight, half marathon, 13 miles straight, but it requires more energy for your body to continue to like start and stop. It's like a vehicle, right? You have to kind of warm it back up. And it was a really good test for me and a good base builder to get 25 miles in like that. And, I'm really looking forward to the Speed Project. It's going to be a really fun time. First time for me doing that. I've heard nothing but great things about it. And I think it's one of those races that is, it's really memorable because a lot of people get to share suffering together. We're really building out a strong team and a good team and good crew and people that are going to get involved. So I'm pumped for it in that sense. And, yeah, it's going to be a fun time. It starts on March 29th on Friday at 4 a.m. So another good thing was that we woke up really early and having to do that. And then we'll be running until we're done, until we make it to the Las Vegas sign. Santa Monica Pier to the Las Vegas sign. It was really, yeah, so I'm pumped for that. But yeah, that was my journey for the transcon. Big shout out to Paul. I appreciate you guys showing, gracing us with your time and allowing us to join you guys. And obviously, they're still on a remarkable journey. We're going to be running TSP, and then they'll still be running. Let that sink in really quick, guys. Like, every time I go do something, I'm like realizing, I come back, I'm like, Paul's still running right now. It's like a ludicrous thing to think about. But yes, Paul, best of luck. And for my team getting ready for TSP, we're going to get ready, locked and loaded. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate all the support. If you guys can, review the pod, give it a 5-star rating, all the things. I hope to see you guys all soon. I have some races coming up that I'm really pumped about outside of TSP, which I'll announce very soon. And that is a wrap. Shout out to the transcon team, TSP. We're out. Peace.